Hi, this is Troxel. In this tutorial, we want to kind of extend on the previous one a little bit, where we had looked at our 2-year-old tutorial and then we modified it to search for regions on the timeline. There were as a request for a couple of changes to that, and one was if you have a really long label, it wouldn't fit in the combo box and where you could see the full width. And secondly, it would be nice to be able to jump to something that matches, so we could type a few letters in and it would jump immediately to something that started with those same letters. And so let's see how we can make those changes to this script. They're actually pretty simple. The first thing I wanted to do was modify it so that the combo box here width would change if you change the width of this form. So the first thing I wanted to do was figure out how wide this combo box is. If we look down here in our settings, we will see that right now it is 335 wide. Then I wanted to see how big the form itself was. And if we look right here, we can see that that is 424. To make things simpler, I just decided, let's assume that they both ended with 5 and the difference was 90. So that's a nice even number that we can go through. And so now what we want to do is whenever the width of the form changes, we want to change the width of the combo box too. So to do that, we need to click on this little lightning bolt here while we're on the form. We're still on the form. And we want to click on this little lightning bolt. And when we scroll, we will see that we have a resize option. If you double click on the resize option, it will automatically add the new subroutine into your program. So let's go back and look at the form now. So when we double clicked, it automatically added this private void form1 resize with these arguments, and then all we have to do is type in our code. So our code that we wanted here was our markers dot width is going to be equal to the form1 active form dot width, and then let's subtract our difference that we found, which was 90, so minus 90. So now when the form is resized, the region combo box will also be resized to match that new width. The other thing that was wanted was when we type in this combo box here, we wanted to jump to whatever text was already there, and that way if something was way far down but we knew how it started, we could jump directly to it. So let's go back to our properties and let's scroll up, and we're going to look at this autocomplete mode. There are several settings here, and the one we want is suggest append. And then we want to change our autocomplete source to list items. That way it will look for the items that we added to the list. And then down here, our drop-down style. I want to make sure that this is set to drop down a list, because if it is just set to drop down, you could actually type something new in that doesn't exist. And so we don't want that to happen. And so by changing this to drop down list, you cannot type in something that is not there. So now we compile this again and let's see how it works. Here is our little project that I had with our regions displayed. And you can see I've added a 5th region that has a really long name to it. So now if I go to Tools, Scripting, Run Script, and start this one, and I drop this down, you will see that this one is really, really long. I can just resize this, and you will see that the combo box is resizing with me. And now when I open the combo box, I can see the entire label that is in that one. Then secondly, when we come up here, I can actually type. So if I wanted, say, region 2, I could type REG, and I get region 1 and 2 are both at the top. If I type in F, it takes me to that one. If I type in S, it takes me to this one. If I type M, it takes me to this one. So I can quickly jump to any that begin with a specific letter, or I can type in SOME, and that way it would jump to the first one that said sum, And so this will let me quickly jump to any particular one, and then when I click on Find Region, it will take me to that region. So this was just a short little tutorial showing how we can make some additional small changes. Most of these were just settings that needed to be adjusted. We did add one little routine to adjust the width to match the width, and so that was probably the trickiest part. The rest of them were just settings that we had to change, and so that shows you how powerful that programming in Visual Studio can be. Sometimes it's just a matter of changing a few settings to get what you want. So I hope you find this tutorial useful. Subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Please sign up at www.jettv.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.